Hello, this is Ed Cawthorn again, and this is another video. I call this video Oddball Stuff. The reason I call it Oddball Stuff is because it's just stuff that has to be introduced, and I never really have a convenient place to introduce it. So it's Oddball Stuff. It really describes what it is. It's things you need to know, but, you know, it's nice. It's things you need to know, but it's not something that's going to hinder your ability to learn the language. It's going to hinder your ability to use the language proficiently, which is a different thing altogether for most of you since you're learning. First thing we're going to talk about in Oddball Stuff is comments. Comments are an important part of any type of program. Any well-written program will have comments associated with it. I think I got a program out here in a driver. Let's see if we can look at this real quick. Come on, Eddie. Excuse me. And you see it's got a comment, make a window. That's not what this is called, but it's got comments around in a few places where they're necessary, where they aren't. This gives me my window, my size, and everything. This sets the place where I want to hit the exit button. These are comments that are going to make this program more pragmatic for me in the very near future. I think I've got another one where I've added some comments to it. There's my window maker. I think I added more comments to it. Nope, I didn't add more comments to it. I just made it into an object for modularization. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Let's take a look at this one, see if I did anything here. No, not really. Comments are something that people add to code that enhance the ability to manage the code. First comments you should have on all your code are the name of the program, the author, come on, date it was written, and the synopsis. You'll notice in that driver I had a synopsis there and it explained what it was supposed to be doing. Even though it might change in the process, you need that as very minimal. Line comments are denoted by a pound sign. This is a comment. Group comments are denoted by 3 quotes and 3 quotes around this is a comment. Now you'll notice your comments are color-coded. Line comments are red, the group comments are green or yellow, depending on what you see. That's okay. Excuse me. So I can write a program. Dog equal cat. Not good names. When I code like this, I'm coding ideas, and therefore I might often use something that's totally outside the realm of reasonableization for names for a comment or for a variable, because that's just the way I do it. Don't let that get in the way. That's how you write a comment. Now, excuse me. A thing about comments. Too many comments is a bad thing. I used to know a guy in COBOL programming who, for every 2 lines of code he'd write 7 lines of comments. Became unreadable. Comments that Comments that don't make sense are not a good thing. Just because I can is not a good comment. Okay? That sort of thing. The very basic comments for every module you write or every Python program you write should be name, author, date, and synopsis. We'll go into this as we move along a little bit, but that should be the very basic. So that pretty much covers comments. Built-in functions in Python. Python has a whole bunch of built-in functions. One of them is vars. And we can go up here and we can type in vars in the Python. Come on, Eddie. Sometimes I screw up, and when you screw up like that, just hit enter. VARs. And it gives me all the vars. Don't know if this gives you none. Name built in. Okay. And then you have locals that give you the built-in function and everything. And you've got dog equals cat. There's dog, and that's what dog is equal to. That's what it's referred to, and that's what it dictionary. Vars come out as a dictionary. Locals comes out as a dictionary. You can tell because of the way they're surrounded, not like a list. A list comes out with square brackets, not dictionary brackets. You'll be able to read all these things as we move along, but just keep that in mind. We've already covered the type. Directory, we've covered a little bit. ID. Come on, Eddie. ID. Dog. This gives me the location that dog is in memory, where it put it in the heap. Sometimes that's handy to know, sometimes that's not handy to know. If you have dog equals 5 and cat equals 5, then dog equals cat. But ID dog minus ID cat gives me a 0. That tells me they're in the same place. You won't have that if dog equals you'll notice that dog is in a totally different location. You just know because you've got a response back that's a 0. Python tries to use memory as efficiently as possible so that if the same variable appears in the same place, cat equals watermelon, dog equals watermelon. Then when you ID dog minus ID cat, you get a 0. It tries to use space as efficiently as possible. Cat and dog are variables, but they're basically just pointers to a memory location. Keep that in mind. Bin, binary converts a number to a binary. Let's say we've got the number 2,320. Dog equals 2,920. And we want to convert that over to a binary number. Why? I don't know. I don't care why. And I would do dog dog.bin and parens, and there it is. Integer object has no value of binary. So I'm doing it wrong. So it's bin dog. And that converts it to a binary. Keep that in mind, that it's okay to make mistakes. Just realize when something like that comes up and it says that you don't have it, then you've got the wrong one. You're looking at the wrong idea. You're thinking about it incorrectly. That's the word I'm looking for. And more about built-in functions. This is where you find built-in functions in W3 School. There's a bunch of built-in functions. You can go out there and you can just play with these day and night and learn how to use them. I don't have a better solution to learning how to use built-in functions than just suggesting you play with them. And one of the ways you can play is just click on it, and the W3 Schools brings you to an example. Try it yourself. Absolute of minus 7.25 is run 7.25. ABS stands for absolute value. And if you have any question what your function is, you can go back and it says return the absolute value of a function. You know, these things are really straightforward. I talked to a kid the other day who says he knows Python. I said, well, do you know Python or do you really know Python? And he says to me, well, I know Python. Okay. But he knows these things about Python, but he hasn't, I guess my statement to him is how much have you used them to your advantage? And that's something that you need to be able to do. You need to be able to use functions, and they're oddball things because you don't know that you need them until suddenly you need them. And then you go looking for them and you say, where the heck am I going to find those? Those are built-in functions that are in Python, and you should always be willing to look at it. Now, another thing that other people have commented on, I use a lot of online resources to get my job done. I do that for two reasons. One, productivity, because it cuts down on my mistakes. And second, because my memory is a sieve. I carry probably 25 different languages in my head at any given time. And to be honest with you, sometimes I make mistakes. I remember years ago I went up in front of a class and was teaching Java, and I was writing VB on the board. Didn't even see the difference. That's why I do things like this, so that you can wander around and learn to be productive, but realize that there are resources out there that can help make you productive. And I'll go out of here and end this video.